Hi, welcome back to Best Friends. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a lot to talk about, but I want to cover some things that have to do with warm weather because actually it's supposed to be a little warmer than it is today. We have had a string of warm weather, and remember the last time I talked about pets being with you in your car, and then you having to get out and go grocery shopping or go to the dry cleaner or whatever you're doing and leaving the pet in the car, and that generates calls from very offended people who are worried about the pet, and we have to show up, and all of that can be avoided if during days that are 70 degrees and warmer you leave the pet at home. It really works out best for everyone, even if the pet is grumpy about not being able to go with you. It's still better. There are other days that it can accompany you. Now, some things that are coming up. We have a big deal about clutter for the next month. If you drop by the shelter and leave clothing or blankets or anything in our box that is to the side of the shelter, that's going to help because there is a contest for who gets the most stuff, the highest weight during the month of May, and the animals could get some pretty cool prizes. The other thing is that Value Village is running a wonderful event for us from June 6th through 8th. If you take your closet cleaning out stuff, clothing, to Value Village, then we get an actual cash donation from that. And so the animals benefit from that too. And since you're going to be getting rid of things like that anyway, why not help the animals? So keep it in mind, okay? Now we're going to talk about cats. This is Cheeto. I bet I know where he got his name. Actually, he probably hasn't had very many Cheetos in his little lifetime, but he definitely is a perfect kitty for a family. He is short-haired, easy care coat. He is neutered. He is just an adorable, cuddly, purry guy and would probably be perfect for your household. I love the white dot on his nose. I think that's very cute. He's just checking out the temptations that I left on his towel for him. I don't know very many cats who don't love this particular kind of treat. And he's leaving now. This pretty little girl came from the Tenino area. She's what we call a patch tabby. She's a little bit damp back here because she just had her shots and her microchip, and we brought her up. She had some terrible ear mites, but those are all taken care of at this point. And she's really very cooperative about it. She's a nice cat. She has a beautiful green eyes. You'll notice that her ear is notched. It's possible that that happened during a fight, but often whenever a colony of cats is spayed or neutered, the vet will notch the cat's ear to indicate that the surgery has taken place, because it's not all that easy to determine if a cat has been spayed. once the incision has grown together and fur covers it again. So this is a very tolerant lady, and I think she'd make a great pet. Sometimes the kitties that are the tortoiseshells or the patch tabbies or the calicos have kind of a questionable disposition, but this one isn't. She's solid, and I think she'd be good in almost any home. But she is such a sweet girl. How would you like to guess this kitty's name? It's Midnight. I think Midnight has a rather striking face because he has one white eyebrow that looks like a shooting star. It is beautiful. Midnight came to us in February, actually, and he was a mess when he came to us then. And of course, this is now May, so he has recuperated from all of his ills that he had, and he is now available for adoption. He has been in a foster home with dogs and female cats, and he has gotten along very well with everyone. So if you have a household that has a mixed pet population, this might be the perfect cat for you. We know he gets along well with other cats, and we know he does okay with dogs, and he certainly does well with humans. So come on down and meet him. He is just a lovely, lovely guy. One of our volunteer vets did his neutering, so he's really ready to go. We have vets who volunteer for us through Fort Lewis, and that's been a wonderful thing, and we're very grateful to them for doing that. But this is one of the kitties that they have helped. What a sweet guy. This kitty, which is a male that we also neutered, came to us on the 10th of May, and you'll notice when you look at him that he has an area here that's shaved. He had, not quite sure whether it was an injury or a recent infection, but we had to shave it in order to get down to the skin and see what was going on and get it cleared up, which has happened at this point. And he is available for adoption. Isn't he a handsome, handsome kitty? Again, this one looks, it's almost like a patch tabby. It has the apricot coloring in the gray coat and then the white. Yes, very, very pretty. Are you playful? Do you like playing? Maybe. Depends, huh? You are a pretty cat. This is a spayed female brown tabby that we've had since the 19th. She's, you know, there's something magic about brown tabbies. To begin with, their markings are so intricate and beautiful that I could look at them all day and see something different every time I did. But she is also just, even though this is her first day up here in adoption, she's taking it all in stride. She's just a sweet girl. She also has seemed to do fairly well with other cats. That's something you would want to evaluate for yourself, of course. But she is a good candidate for a family cat. You'll notice that we're not showing you any kittens. That's because as soon as we bring kittens up to our adoption area, they get adopted, which isn't something I'm going to complain about, but it does make it difficult for you to see the lovely kittens that we have. The ones that we do have aren't quite ready for adoption just yet, but they will be very soon. Again, though, as soon as we move them up, they get adopted. Lots of people are checking Craigslist to get animals, and while you don't get the kinds of services that you get when you adopt from the shelter, I understand that it's kind of the reality of our digital age, and yet pay attention to the fact that we provide spays and neuters, the full set of shots, and microchip and license. Now, you don't have to have all of that to have a pet, but if you acquire those things separately, the pet's going to cost you a great deal more than it would if you were to buy it off Craigslist. Just a heads up there. Stick with us. We don't have a lot of unusual animals to show you this time because our guinea pigs and rabbits have all been adopted too. We have a snake, a corn snake, and an absolutely beautiful snake, but it's springtime, and as snakes occasionally do, he's feeling kind of grumpy, and so we're not going to put him on camera. But if you're interested in having a snake for a pet, come on by the shelter and we'd be happy to show him to you. I'm saying him advisedly. I don't know if it's a him or a her. We haven't been that close. I also have a cockatiel in my office who is not hand tame, and you would need to be aware of that. But I know that there are people out there that are just terrific at hand taming birds. I simply don't have the time to do it in an area that's safe enough because of the cats that are here. However, we are now going to go to our dog adoption area, and we hope that you stick with us. We have several dogs. Some are from this county, some are from other counties, because as we have space in adoption, we're helping other shelters out from Pacific County and other places. So stick with us. We'll see. Okay, all you folks out there who keep coming in saying, I want a small dog. I don't blame you. I don't really need a huge one myself. But this is a little Shih Tzu who is somewhere between 2 and say 5 years old. Came in as kind of a fixer-upper model and has now been fixer-upped. And so she is ready to go into a home. She may not be housebroken, but that's reasonably easy to do. She is just as cute as a little button. My goodness, who could resist that? Yes, just adorable. Aren't you? Yes, you are. Yes, you are just precious. And I believe that they are ready to go. They've been spayed, and all of their health issues have been addressed. And so come on down and meet them. I'm saying them, right? And you notice there's only one in my lap. We do have another one, and we'll show that one to you too. This is Buster. Buster is a blue tick hound. Buster is adorable. He came from a family with kids and cats, so he does get along with both of those. He does, of course, need secure confinement, because even though he gets along well with his own cats, doesn't mean he would get along all that well with cats that belong to the neighbors. He's a hound. Hounds come with a whole set of behaviors that are both endearing and occasionally a problem. One of them is the noise they make. It's really better to keep guys like Buster involved in doing things and not let them get bored, because that's when they bay. And a bay is really different from a bark, and it can be a real problem in a densely populated neighborhood. So I think he's just terrific. I would not call myself a hound person, but for anyone who is, perfect adoption. He isn't neutered yet, and of course that's included with our adoption, so no biggie there. And he does have a nose. He's very nose driven, and that's one of the reasons that we also require secure confinement, because if he gets onto a trail, a scent trail, and heads out, then unless he runs into a solid barrier, he's going to keep going. And who of us in the Northwest can control when a raccoon or a possum or a deer or whatever wander into our backyards? We just don't have that level of control over God's creatures. No, we don't. And so we'll just make sure you run into something solid, all right? Okay. This is George. George came to us because his owner died, which is a sad thing. But we think that George may very well have been trained as a gun dog. He is definitely a duck dog. At least this is what we've heard from other members of the family and friends. George is very sturdy, as you can see. He has not been neutered yet, but of course that's something that will happen relatively soon. He's a very friendly, loving dog. He loves rolling in dead things, which means he gets lots of baths. Those would include earthworms or anything else he happens to locate. Wow. So, you know, if you do have a friend or if you are a duck hunter, George may be a real treasure for you. Other than that, he's just a big, goofy, friendly lab. Oh, he's just a sweet old boy. He does get along with other dogs, and I don't know what else I could tell you about him other than he's quite a chunk. Yes, I know. Yes. Uh-huh. Here is yet another purebred. Have you noticed that we've showed you nothing today but purebred dogs? This one is a heeler, a Queensland Blue heeler, which is not an unusual occurrence in our county because they are very accomplished stock dogs. And we still have some agriculture in Thurston County. But this little girl is extremely friendly. I really like her. She's a very attractive dog. And you know, her coat looks like it's coarse. It is just as soft as it can be up close when you're touching her, and she loves to be petted. She really loves attention. She is just a very, very sweet girl. She's a little on the chunky side, but in the right home, I'm sure she would slim down because she would get to go for walks and things. Bearing in mind, she is a herding breed, which is not all that different from an Australian Shepherd or a Border Collie. These are very, very intelligent dogs, and the intelligence can lead them into trouble, and by extension, you into trouble, if you aren't careful to make sure they stay occupied and interested in things. And she does need secure confinement because she is gifted with the same wonderful prey drive that allows her to herd sheep and anything else with hooves on it. And So that's something you would want to make sure happened. She can be a house dog, though. Healers aren't bad about that sort of thing. They can sort of shift jobs. They do tend to herd toddlers, and every now and then we have one that kind of, nips a diaper or something. But generally speaking, they're adaptable. They're good dogs. Yes. And the healer thing is because they typically nip in the back of the leg because that's how they herd stock. So that's H-E-E-L-E-R. It drives me crazy when I see people spelling it H-E-A-L-E-R. They're not doctors. They are stock dogs. Yes, and you're very cute too. Yes, you are. Yes. I think that's it for the dogs that we have available right this minute. Remember, everything you see here is kind of a moment in time because we're an open admission shelter, so we have animals coming and going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you see these on TV, they may be adopted by this afternoon. There were some that we planned to put on the show, and they are in the process of being adopted, all of which makes us very happy. But at the same time, we always caution people that the dog that they saw may not be here now when they finally manage to make it by. So thanks for visiting with us. We really enjoyed having you. Come on by the shelter too. We're at 3120 Martin Way in Olympia. Our hours are 9:30 to 5:30 Tuesday through Friday, and 9:30 to 4 o'clock on Saturdays. We'd love to see you.